This is my dad, Tim Klingler, but I just call him Dad. He likes the dovetailing inside really nice antique furniture, butterscotch cream pie, paging through books of English country gardens, and he walks to this ice cream shop at 7 a.m. every day to buy his morning coffee for 25 cents. And this is my dad in 1973. He had just graduated from Ohio State University, the first person in his family to finish college, and he was going to be a teacher. But first, he was going to take a trip. He would take his paycheck, $350, pay his rent and his bills, and take the rest as far as he could in one direction until he ran out of money. Then he would come back home, get another paycheck, pay some more bills, and go in a different direction until that money ran out. And this would go on all summer, until it was time for school and real life to start. It was a great idea, and it would have happened, except that he met her, and it's one of the best stories I know. This is my mom, Kathy. She likes smoked oysters, doing the Sunday crossword puzzle, playing songs from this Bach's Best Piano Concerto songbook, and this is her stove, brand new, but made to look really old. That's how she likes it. She worked with his sister, my Aunt Penny, and when my dad asked her to set him up on a date before he left for his trip, Aunt Penny thought of my mom. Actually, I think she said, she's a little square, but she might go for you. 43 years ago, the night before he was supposed to leave on his trip, these two had a great first date, and after that great first date, there was a great second date, and a third, and my dad never took his trip. And the rest is history. A history of weddings and puppies and daughters and gardens and lots of matching Easter dresses, and even some history that hasn't been written yet. They made a great life, but as a kid, when I heard my dad tell the story of his almost trip, it always stirred something in me. See, I'm a lot like him. This is me. Like my dad, I like wandering through antique malls. I've got that famous Klingler combo of blonde hair and fair skin. And I love telling corny jokes. So it's not that surprising that there were times I thought about taking his trip on my own, leaving with an envelope of cash and no real destination. And I never really stopped thinking about it. So one day, I lured my dad to Cincinnati, told him I needed help moving a mattress, which I did, but I also had a question. Why don't we take that trip you were going to take? And he said,
yeah,
we were doing it. Now, details. My dad's budget in 1973 was $180. Adjusting for inflation, that's about $1,000 today. So that's what we took with us, all in 20s. It just seemed cooler that way.
A bit thick.
Among other things, I packed a pocket knife, a fancy dress, and this volumizing moose. I almost brought this book by Anne Lamott. And among other things, my dad packed his black sweater, a pair of foldable glasses, and an electric razor. He almost brought a head of celery. Seriously. We started out here, in Cincinnati, Ohio. That's where I live. We would head south on Interstate 75 and, well, that's all we knew. We didn't really have a plan. Because the difference between a trip and an adventure is that a trip has a specific destination. You book hotels, you rent cars, but on an adventure, you have no idea where you'll be staying or how long you'll be gone or who you might meet along the way. We weren't taking a trip. We were going on an adventure. Maybe we'd make it to Nashville. Maybe we'd make it all the way to New Orleans. Maybe we wouldn't make it out of the state. We didn't really know, but we were going, and that's what mattered.
Excited.
Yeah,
I don't know what we're gonna get into.
I don't either.
After that, it all sort of unfolded the way trips will.
147 miles. Now, is that thing on?
I thought I would remember the big moments, but when I think about this trip, I remember so much more the small moments. Busking in front of Café du Monde in New Orleans was fun. But the last night, when we got to a friend's lake house just in time for sunset and skidded down a rocky hill to the dock to take it all in and sing out onto the water, I remember that better. And then I remember the moment shortly after that when we realized we were at the wrong house and the wrong dock.
I want to go on record and say this. I don't know what you're talking about.
That super fancy dinner in New Orleans, that was amazing.
That's a some oyster.
But stopping at Walmart and buying 6 eggs for $1.10 for dinner that night and breakfast the next morning, and how the stars that night were bright enough to eat dinner by, I remember that.
Is there anything that makes you think it might be the right house?
Yeah, the pictures of the family.
Oh, there you
inside.
go. Now, okay. Thank you, Lord.
The bridge over Lake Pontchartrain in Louisiana? Impressive.
I said, hi, New Orleans. How y'all?
But doubling back to stop at a country bridge in Tennessee to have a spitting contest?
1, 2.
I remember that,
Yours was fast.
Mine was faster.
because that's who we are,
Who do you think won?
I did.
and that's what Klinglers do.
One.
And there were times when the small moments really were big. Like when we had $55 to get from Alabama to Ohio, and Dad wanted to leave most of it to Bobby, who ran the breakfast operation at the Comfort Inn in Tuscaloosa, just to brighten her day, just to tell her she did a good job making the eggs. And when we walked away, he said, just watch and see what happens if we give this away. So we did. And on the last day of our trip, when we only had a few bucks in our pockets, we were millionaires because we had enough money for donuts and coffee and still had some change left over.
6667 and 1 screw. Okay.
And that's how our trip ended, by dropping that handful of change in a tip jar at a donut shop in the hills of rural Tennessee.
Lollipop, lollipop, oh, lolly, lolly,
This is my dad.
lollipop. Boom, boom, boom.
And
We made it to New Orleans.
this is my dad.
I'm a little grumpy.
I'm not. I'm very happy.
And this is my dad.
Hallelujah, by and by,
I'll fly
away. Oh. Showboat. Showboat.
He still likes butterscotch cream pie.
That looks delicious.
And this is my dad. He tries new things, even if it's just because I think it would be cool. And he still makes me laugh.
And
Who
everything's
would have
fine.
thought there'd be 2 A-frame houses right next to each other?
Around the lake, yeah, now and then you find them.
A lot.
There
All right,
we go.
let's
I can count it for
Let
you.
me do it. I want to be in this movie.
Alrighty. Okay, you go. I thought it was about moi.
It is mostly.
Okay.
It mostly will be, and I'll be in there for just...
Shouldn't the star count the money?
And this is my dad, ready to sing at the drop of a hat.
Oh, hi, oh. Okay.
This is my dad. He has epic ideas and plans. But he also knows a good thing when he sees it. And he knows when to change his plans when that good thing comes along. Which is great, because then life turns into a whole new kind of adventure. I don't know what choices I'll have to make. What I'll put aside for 43 years only to see it come back to me in strange and beautiful ways. But I know it's gonna be good. And it's okay if it's not easy because, like my dad told me somewhere in Kentucky, sometimes the hard things are the things you remember most. That and memories like these. Because really, they're all we got.
Ba-ba-ba-ba-bum,
Boom, boom,
ba-bum,
beep, beep,
ba-bum,
boom, boom.
ba-bum,
I need some gas.
bum, 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 bum,
Gotta
bum,
have
bum,
gas.
Bum, 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 bum,
Oh,
bum,
alas,
bum, 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 bum,
we're in
Bum, bum,
need
bum, bum, bum,
of gas.
bum, 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 bum,
Don't
bum,
have
bum,
much
bum.
cash.
bum, 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 bum,
Gotta
bum, bum,
use it on
bum,
some
bum.
gas.
bum, 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 bum,
And I
bum,
hope that it
bum,
will
bum.
last.
bum, 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 bum,
We
bum,
gotta
bum, bum,
get some
bum, bum.
gas.
bum, bum. Bum, bum, bum,
And
bum, bum,
then
bum,
we
bum, bum,
need
bum,
to
bum,
eat
bum, bum, bum,
a
bum,
great
bum,
big
bum, bum,
egg.
bum, bum,
My
bum,
stomach's
bum,
growling. I don't mean funny. I gotta get some gas. I hope the money lasts. Breakfast, gas. What do we do? We're gonna get some gas.
Good job.
Okay.